All right, so after reviewing 1, 2, and 3, what I'm going to do is go through 4, 5, and 6 in this video. For the first one, we're still in R2 material in terms of homework, if you would. And rather than solving an equation like we did up here, right, or solving a formula like we've done in part 3, this time we're solving an inequality. In this case, a greater than statement, or negative 2/3 sits to the right of 4. And essentially, the good news is everything that we did to solve equations, the golden rule still applies with one exception. When you divide or multiply by a negative value, you basically have to flip the sign that we're doing, all right? And that's basically what we're going to do here. So let me rewrite the equation over here. So we got 2/3 x is greater than 4. And so the golden rule that I'm going to choose to play, let me go ahead and do it in another color, is I'm actually going to multiply both sides by -3/2. What that's going to do, again, is cause a change or a flip in the sign, and then everything else pretty much stays the same. So -2/3 x and 4. All right, over here, the -2/3 goes away with the -3/2, leaving us with x, and we're less, or in this case, less than. 2 goes into 4 twice, and so we got -6. So imagine, if you would, before I go off into the interval notation part of it, if this would have been a plus, and I would have multiplied both sides by +3/2, oops, +3/2, then we would not need to change the sign. All right, so the only time you play basically the golden rule, right, for inequalities, but the only time that you flip, like we did here, is when you multiply or divide by a negative on both sides. All right, and so here's our answer. And of course, over here, the answer would have been greater than 6. Now, what about interval notation? Well, interval notation, right, perhaps what helps best here is to look at a number line, all right? So x is less than -6. Somewhere on my number line is -6. Let's imagine zeros over here. And all my x's are to the left of it, or less than it. So we'd be coloring that part of the number line. So my interval notation, you always talk about what's bounding me to the left, what bounds me to the right, and then you're either using parentheses or closed brackets depending on the inequality, if you're allowed to be equal to. So in this case, right, what bounds me to the left is -infinity. It goes forever. What bounds me to the right is -6. We can never be equal to infinity, and the inequality that we have is a strict one, so we can't be equal to -6. So this right here, let me highlight it in red, would be our final answer in interval notation. So here's the answer in inequality form, and there's the answer in interval notation for number 4. So just continue to play the same golden rule, all right, that you've played before. Just be careful with your division or multiplication by a negative. Don't forget to flip the sign. Okay, so very good. So let's change gears here. Just for the sake of time, I'm going to go ahead and continue on here. All right, and let's look, oops. All right, I can't scroll down here. What's going on? All right, so, well, for that matter, how about I just stop here since I'm having trouble with my iPad? All right, and we'll do 5 and 6 in another video. All right, I'll see you guys soon.